Hey guys, this video is the walkthrough of Hackable 2 from Vulnhub. So let's begin this. So first step is to find the IP address of the mission that is in my list of networks. So here I just entered the sudo arp scan -l, and the MAC address starting with the 08 will be my target IP in the virtual box. So this is my target IP. The first step is to scan using nmap, and I am here specifying the nmap network mapper tool and -sv for scanning for the versions, and here is the target IP address. So let the scan process, and this is the results that you're getting after the scan. As you can see, we have three ports open here: port 21 and port 22 and port 80. So we can see that the state is open and the service here is port 21 FTP and port 22 SSH, and port 80, which is here, is HTTP. So what we can do here is to visit the HTTP here. So if HTTP is open, then you can just you can just copy the IP and paste it in the browser to be a website. So before that, let me perform another scan here called script scanning. So -S for performing a script scanning. Let it run. In the meantime, oh, we get the results so faster. So anyways, we can see the results here is saying that FTP supports anonymous login, and the content inside that is call.html. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. Anyways, the first step that I'm going to do here is to browse it using the IP address, because port 80 is open. So when I browse it using the IP address, this is what I'm able to get, which here is Apache 2 Ubuntu default page. Let me view the page source here. So here I was able to find something suspicious. As you can see, do you like Gobuster, Dube, etc.? What other tools do you know, guys? So there are tools like Gobuster, Dube, which seems to be in directory enumeration tools like Gobuster, Dube, Dubuster, and Do Search, etc. So let's use some of those tools. Here we can use the symbol tool here called dib. So I'm just opening a new terminal by pressing the Control Shift and T. So now I am just entering dib space the URL. So here it's http :/ and the IP address. So this was running, and we were able to find a directory here called files. So let me open that. As you can see, this is what we get from the files directory, and this is the call.html. It's about saying that get ready to receive a call. So let me view the page source here, and this is what I'm able to find in the page source. We have the title here called onion, and we have get ready to receive a call. This is what I am getting from the call.html page, and this is the index of files, and this is what we are getting from this directory. So this is how we get by using the dupe tool. In the meantime, let's move back and let's check for the FTP here. I just previously mentioned you that FTP login is allowed, and the file here is call.html, which seems to be the same file. So anyways, let's access it using FTP space IP address, and the username and password seems to be anonymous because anonymous login is allowed. So anonymous, and here it is. So this is the content that I am able to find from the FTP, which seems to be call.html. So I'm just getting this to my directory. So I'm just entering ls, and here is our call.html. So we can just use the command firefox call.html, and here it is. So this seems to be the same page that we get from the index of files. So what we can do now is first we get this page, and it's saying that you have to use Gobuster dib tool. So we use those tools, and we find another here directory called, which here is files directory, and we were able to find a call.html, which seems to be the same content that we find in the FTP, which here is a file transfer protocol. So what we can do here is we can just upload a reverse shell into this and gain access to the system, which seems to be pretty good. So let's do that. So when I enter ls, I was able to see these are the files available on my mission. So I am going to copy something from our Kali Linux, which seems to be in the directory of user share web shells, and here we have a PHP directory. Inside the PHP directory we have PHP reverse shell.php. So I'm just copying that to my home Kali. So when I enter ls, I was able to see this is the content that is available there. So now I'm using the command mousepad and php hyphen reverse shell.php, so and pressing enter. So here is our content, and as you can see, we have an option here called IP address, and it's saying to change this. So we just need to specify our IP address here for getting a reverse connection. And you also able to see change this in the port. You can change it if you want, but if you don't change, it's okay. So in the meantime, we just need to know our IP, so we can use a browser, we can use open a new terminal tab by pressing Ctrl Shift T and enter ifconfig, and you are able to get your IP address here. So this is your IP address, so I'm just pasting it here in this IP section. So you can also change this port from 1234 to the port that you like. So I'm not going to change as of now, I'm just letting it be in the default port. So I'm just pressing Ctrl S and save this. So now I am just closing that, and I'm just confirming that if it is done or not by re-entering the command and visiting to see if everything was set confirmed. As you can see, it's confirmed and everything was set. As you can see, the IP is here set. So what I'm going to do is to upload this to I'm just copying this and using the FTP server to upload this into the web directory. So in FTP we can just enter the help command to get the plenty of commands that we can use inside FTP. So here I am going to use a command called put to put something or to upload something into the FTP. So you can explore the various commands that you can use inside the FTP, like dir. So we can just use the dir, and which seems to be the same command that we enter ls. So and we do have a plenty of commands to use inside the FTP. So you can see put command is there, so you can use the put command, and the file which here is the php reverse shell.php, which here is our file. So I'm just putting that. So when I enter ls, I was able to see our php reverse shell.php was there. So now what I'm going to do is open the browser, and here in this index of files, let me click the refresh button here. So here we got our php reverse shell.php. So I'm not going to click as of now, because you just need to start the reverse shell. So first I'm just exiting from the FTP, then I'm using the nc command, which, so first let me clear the terminal for making you a good view. So now I'm using the nc command for the netcat, and minus n for the numeric, and b for the verbose, l for the listen, p for the port. And here our reverse port that we specified in the php reverse shell.php is 1234. So I'm just pressing enter, and our netcat server was started, netcat listening was started on port 1234. So now I'm just going to click and execute this, and here it is, and we got a connection. As you can see, when I enter ls, I was able to see the files that is in these missions, in this Ubuntu mission. And as you can see, it's about can't access TTY, job control was turned off. So you can just eliminate that using a website here called, you can just search for the spawn TTY in the web, like spawn TTY, search this in the Firefox browser, and you will be able to get a website here called seclear.dev, like wiki.seclear.dev. So here we can see the Python command here. So let me copy this entire command and let me paste it here, and we can see it's about saying that Python not found. In this case, you can just open the mousepad here, and you can paste, you can change this to Python 3 if it supports Python 3. So if it is not supporting Python, you can use the Python 3, and here it is, it worked. So when now I am entering ls, I was able to see this in a well manner instead of listing everything down by down in the previous. So now I was able to see this clearly. So I'm going to execute another command here called /bin /bash -i. Now I was able to see where I am now, like I'm logged in as www data, and I'm here as an Ubuntu. So when I enter who am I was able to see I'm a www data as logged in. So when I enter ls, I was able to see the files. So I'm just moving to the home directory to check which types of views is available here. So this is what I found in the home directory, which seems to be an important.txt and a user here called Shrek. So first I'm just visiting the Shrek user. directory. So when I enter ls minus all, I was able to find a lot of things which here supports user.txt. We don't have permission to view the user.txt. Let me show that. When you get this, you were not able to view that content because you are not having a permission to view that. So we do have important.txt available here, as you can see. So first we can just get that important.txt. So this is what we found in the important.txt, saying that run the script to see the data. So it's saying that runme.sh. So, and what we can do is just copy the entire content and just execute here. Just use this, and here we can see the I just copy the entire content and doesn't add anything from my own, and just paste it here, and it's automatically running. The secret key is trolled, and restarting computer in 3 2 1, and we can see shrug, and which seems to be password of the user shrug. So let's use this by entering the command su for the switch user, shrek for shrug, and here we can enter the password, and here we can see it's saying that its authentication was failure, and this seems to be not the password of the user shrug. So what we can do from these credentials, we have to analyze what is that hash type or something like that. You do have built-in tool available in your machine which seems to be hash id. So I think it seems to be hash id. So, and entering this, and I was able to see it seems to be md2, md5, md4 or something like this. So I'm also using an online tool here called cyberchef. So here in the cyberchef, what I'm going to do here is I am just pasting the content here and just using that analyze hash module, and which is saying me that this seems to be this seems to be md5 message digest 5 or 4 or 2, something like this. So anyways, we can just try to crack this using websites called crackstation. You can use website called crackstation or hashes.com. So here I'm just using hashes.com. You can also use the crackstation, which seems to be pretty good, but you can also use multiple websites like this. If crackstation website is not working, then you can use this website hashes.com. So you just need to know multiple websites for doing that. So you can use hashes.com like this. So I'm just entering a c small f capital f z w. You can also use try to use crackstation, which seems to be pretty good. Crackstation is also good. Okay, so that's something that you need to keep in mind. And here we can see found, and it's found, and the password here is onion, so which seems to be a password. So let me use the su command for switching user to shrug, and entering the password as onion, and here it is. We were able to log in as shrug. Now when I enter I was not able to get a good shell here in this reversal. So we know that the ssh is also open, so we can just use ssh shrug at the ip address here. Our target ip here is 226. So what we can do here is to use 226. So SSH user at IP address, and just enter S, and the password here is onion. So when I entered that, I was able to log in properly as this user. So I'm just getting this, and here is the user.txt. So the next step that we can use is to enter the sudo su command and enter the password as onion. And here we can see user shrug is not allowed to execute binzu as root on Ubuntu. So you can just list the privileges by entering the command sudo -l. As you can see, we were able to become root by using the user bin python 3.5. So we can just copy the python. It's python 3.5, right? So we can just copy the python from here, and you can just use a website here called gtfo bins, which contains the Linux binaries, and you can see it's a curator list of Unix binaries that can be used to bypass local security restrictions. So I'm just opening this website and searching for Python, and this is what I found. I'm just opening that, and you do get plenty of things here like shell, reverse shell, etc. So here I'm just copying the sudo content, the entire sudo content. So I'm just pasting it here and enter the password here as onion, and it's saying that Python not found. So what we can do is to change the Python to something called Python 3 and enter the password as onion. And here you can see, sorry, user struct is not allowed to execute Python 3, something like this as root on Ubuntu. So based on what we found, it is saying that it's user bin Python 3.5. So instead of entering Python 3, let's try to enter Python 3.5 here. And boom, guys, now when I enter who am I was able to see I'm root. This hash represents that I'm root, and this is the end. So when I enter move to the root directory, when I enter ls, here is the root.txt. So I'm just getting the root.txt, and this is the end of this video, and this is how you find the flag. And I hope you understand, I hope you learned something new from this video, and I will see you in the next one.